The jungle morning started with a bit of a mischievous breeze. Dodo the donkey was standing by his favorite spot at the sparkling stream, admiring his reflection in the water. He was fussing over his wooden crown, tilting it back and forth to make sure it sat perfectly between his ears.
"Look at that shine, Chatter," Dodo bragged, puffing out his chest so far he nearly tipped over. A crown this magnificent doesn't just sit on a head, it deserves its own parade. It represents law, order, and honestly, my incredible sense of style. Chatter the parrot, watching from a branch, gave a skeptical squawk. "It's a nice piece of wood, Dodo, but I think the wind likes it more than you do. Just look at those clouds." Before Dodo could even snap back, a sudden, powerful gust of wind roared through the clearing. It whistled through the trees, rattled the leaves, and with a sharp whoosh, it snatched the crown right off Dodo's head. "My crown! My dignity! Somebody catch it!" Dodo shrieked. He flailed his hooves in the air, watching his prized possession tumble through the sky like a golden leaf. The wind seemed to be playing a game, carrying the crown higher and higher. Chatter took off instantly, his bright feathers flashing against the blue sky as he chased the wooden circle over the treetops. Finally, with a soft clack, the crown landed on the very tip of the ancient oak, the tallest, oldest, and most stubborn tree in the whole jungle. Dodo reached the base of the oak, frantic and out of breath. He looked up, and his neck started to ache just thinking about it. The crown was nothing but a tiny speck at the top. "Momo, this isn't just a climb, it's a mission, and only a pro like you can handle it," Dodo commanded. Momo the monkey stepped up, cracking his knuckles and giving his tail a good stretch. "Relax, Dodo. To me, this tree is just a very tall ladder." Momo started climbing like a blur of brown fur. He was swinging from branch to branch with total grace. Benny, the baby deer, and Ellie, the elephant, arrived just in time to cheer him on. But as Momo reached the higher sections, things got tricky. The ancient oak was covered in slippery moss, and the thin branches were thin and brittle. Crack! A branch snapped under Momo's weight. He let out a yelp, did 3 accidental backslips in midair, and barely managed to catch a lower branch with his tail. He tried again, but the wind was howling up there, and the thin branches were swaying like they were made of jelly.
"It's no use," Momo called down, his voice shaking. "The top is too thin. If I go any higher, I'm going down, and the crown is coming with me." Dodo started pacing in circles. "We need more height. Ellie, we need your strength." Ellie looked at the massive tree and came up with a wild plan. "Dodo, if I stand on my hind legs and stretch my trunk, and you stand on my head, maybe we can get Momo close enough to jump?" It was a ridiculous idea, but Dodo was desperate. Ellie braced herself against the bark and slowly stood up. Dodo, trembling like a leaf, climbed up Ellie's back and perched himself right between her big, floppy ears. "Higher, Ellie! A little higher!" Dodo squeaked. Benny watched from below, his little tail spinning like a propeller from anxiety. "Be careful, Dodo! You're wobbling!" Just as Ellie stretched her trunk to give Momo the boost he needed, a squirrel darted right past Dodo's nose. Dodo couldn't help it. He let out a massive donkey-sized sneeze. Achoo! The recoil sent Dodo sliding down Ellie's trunk like a playground slide, and the whole team ended up in a tangled mess of fur and dust at the bottom. While everyone was shaking off the dirt, Benny squinted his big eyes at the top of the tree. "Dodo, look! The crown isn't moving. There's something inside it." Chatter flew up to investigate and came back with wide eyes. "Dodo, there's a tiny bird named Pip up there. She's built a nest right in the middle of your royal crown. It's protecting her eggs from the wind. She thinks your royal crown is a royal shield for her babies." The clearing went dead silent. Dodo's ears drooped. The frustration on his face vanished, replaced by something much deeper. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about how he looked. He was thinking about Pip and her tiny, unhatched family. Right then, a heavy royal footstep thudded behind them. King Leo the lion emerged from the shadows. He had been watching the whole chaotic rescue mission. He walked up to Dodo and placed a soft, heavy paw on his shoulder. "Dodo," Leo said, his voice deep and rumbling. "A true king isn't measured by the wood on his head, but by the kindness in his heart. That crown is yours, yes, but to that mother bird, it's the only thing keeping her children alive. What matters more to a king, his vanity or his subjects?" Dodo looked up at the tree, then back at Leo. He took a deep breath. "You're right, Leo. A king protects his people. If my crown can keep those babies safe, then the ancient oak can keep it. I don't need it." He turned to his friends with a sad but proud smile. "Let's go home, guys. I think I look better without a hat anyway." But as the team started to walk away, a frantic chirping broke out from the treetops. Pip had heard everything. She saw the giant donkey walk away from his treasure just to save her home. Pip chirped to her friends, and suddenly a dozen small birds swarmed the crown. With their tiny beaks and incredible teamwork, they lifted the crown and flew in a perfect formation, descending slowly from the tree. Dodo felt a sudden weight on his head. He froze. Pip and her friends had gently placed the crown back where it belonged. Pip landed on Dodo's ear and chirped softly. Chatter translated. "She says thank you, Dodo. She says a king this kind deserves to wear his crown. Ellie pointed out a much safer hollow in the tree earlier, and she's already moved her eggs there. She wants you to have your dignity back." Dodo's eyes sparkled with tears of joy. King Leo gave a slow, approving nod. "Well," Dodo said, shaking his mane and straightening his crown, "it looks like I'm not just a king, but a king with the best aerial security team in the world. Come on, everyone. Fresh carrots are on me." The team walked into the sunset, Dodo leading the way with his crown shining brighter than ever, not because of the wood, but because of the heart underneath it.